Welcome to B&B Spoiler Zone. Fire your #1 place for all the juicy spoilers, shocking twists, and behind-the-scenes buzz from the bold and the beautiful. If you don't want to miss what's coming next in episode, you're in the right place. Brooke Logan's tone regard questioned as she accepts Ridge's offer. Still, it's the fleet engagement between Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, and Ridge Forrester, Torsten K. If there's one thing the bold and the beautiful suckers see ain't stop talking about. But rather of celebrating a love story decades in the timber, numerous are rolling their eyes and calling Brooke's tone regard into question. After all, why would any woman with tone respect accept an offer from a man who has clunk-ponged between her and Taylor Hayes, Krista Allen, for decades? According to the rearmost spoilers, Brooke says yes formally again, but this time, it's not met with cheers. In fact, it raises a bigger question: has Brooke fully lost sight of her own worth? For longtime suckers, the Brooke-Ridge love is both fabulous and exhausting. They've been married more times than anyone can count, disassociated nearly as frequently, and Ridge has left her for Taylor more times than most people have switched phone figures. And yet, Brooke remains hooked. The spoilers reveal that Ridge's rearmost offer was exactly a grand romantic gesture. It came distrustfully soon after he dumped Taylor. To numerous observers, it looked more like Brooke was the consolation prize than the love of Ridge's life. So why on earth would Brooke accept him again? Spoilers suggest she believes in fortune, but suckers argue what's really passing is a classic case of low-tone regard. Online chatter has exploded, with suckers flat as troll calling Brooke weak. Words like jellyfish, hopeless, and hopeless romantic keep coming up. Spoilers allude that indeed Ridge's family, including his children, are shaking their heads at this reunion. They see Brooke not as a woman empowered by love, but as someone who doesn't value herself enough to demand better. One addict put it bluntly: Brooke has zero tone regard. Any woman who accepts a man after all he's put her through easily doesn't love herself. And actually, they might be right. Then's where it gets juicy. While Brooke may have accepted Ridge's offer, that doesn't mean smooth sailing. The bold and the beautiful thrives on drama, and spoilers suggest that this engagement will spark a chain response across Los Angeles. Taylor's response: Taylor isn't likely to sit still while Ridge slips a ring on Brooke's cutlet. Anticipate fireworks and perhaps indeed a renewed fight for Ridge. The Forrester kiddies, Ridge's children, have no way been Brooke's biggest suckers, and this time, their disapprobation could push Ridge into alternate guessing himself. Brooke's inner conflict indeed, though she said yes. Spoilers tease that Brooke herself may start questioning whether she's just repeating the same poisonous cycle each over again. Every time Ridge runs back to Brooke, Taylor's heart is contributory damage. This time, however, the contest might take on a different flavor. Rather of Taylor fighting for Ridge, she might eventually turn her attention away, conceivably indeed toward Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon. That would leave Brooke exactly where she always wanted to be, with Ridge. But then's the twist: would it really feel like a palm if she only won because Taylor bowed out? Spoilers tease that Brooke may start to realize that Ridge's devotion is no way truly hers. Another question suckers are raising: does Ridge indeed mean it this time? The spoilers say Ridge dropped to one knee right after unyoking from Taylor. That timing feels less like love and more like damage control. Some presume Ridge is scarified of being alone, so he ran back to his safety net. Brooke's acceptance looks less like a love story and more like settling for scraps, if that's true. What's fascinating is how disunited suckers are. On one side, Brooke patriots contend that she and Ridge are soulmates fated to be together ever. On the other, critics are virtually screaming that Brooke deserves better. This split response is exactly what keeps B&B buzzing. Love her or detest her, Brooke Logan always commands attention. But the verity remains: the longer she lets Ridge mandate her happiness, the further she risks losing the respect of the followership. Then's a spoiler-fueled possibility: what if this offer is the last straw? What if Brooke accepts, but ultimately realizes that Ridge will no way truly commit? That could set up one of the most dramatic character bends in times, Brooke eventually walking down for good. Imagine it, Brooke Logan turning her back on Ridge, rediscovering her tone worth, and shocking everyone in Los Angeles by saying no more. That kind of twist would not only silence her critics but also reinvigorate her character in a way suckers haven't seen in decades. At the end of the day, Brooke's decision to accept Ridge's offer isn't really about love, it's about setting up the coming storm. Will Taylor avenge? Will Ridge's kitties sabotage the engagement? Will Brooke herself lament the choice? The spoilers promise that nothing about this marriage will be easy, and Brooke's so-called lack of tone regard will become a major plot point moving forward. The bold and the beautiful spoilers make one thing sorrowfully clear: Brooke Logan is addicted to Ridge Forrester. Whether it's true love, poisonous preoccupation, or simply habit, she can't say no to him. And while some observers root for the couple, numerous further are questioning Brooke's strength as a character. By saying yes yet again, Brooke may have sealed her fate not as Ridge's eternal soulmate, but as the woman who could no way walk down. One thing's for sure: as this plot explodes, suckers wouldn't be suitable to look down. And that's exactly what makes Brooke Logan both the most loved and most blamed character in B&B history. Brooke Logan has zero self-esteem. Else, why in the world would Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, agree to marry Ridge Forrester, Torsten K., so snappily? For the last several months, Ridge has been shoving her to the side in favor of Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, leaving Brooke lowered, rejected, and formerly again treated as an alternate choice. And yet, the alternate Ridge swells a candescent engagement ring, Brooke melts like adulation in the sun. Make it make sense formerly, right? It's nearly as if Brooke has been sitting around, staying for Ridge to eventually throw her a bone of confirmation. Easily, she has to feel like she's worth further than the breadcrumbs that Ridge constantly tosses her way. But if spoilers are to be believed, Brooke doesn't just accept Ridge back into her life, she clings to him, as if her identity depends on being Mrs. Ridge Forrester. A legendary love or a poisonous cycle? There's no denying Brooke Logan's place in cleaner history. She's iconic, glamorous, and for decades, she's been at the center of the bold and the beautiful's juiciest stories. But there's a darker verity washing underneath the face. Brooke's entire actuality seems to revolve around Ridge. Time after time, he leaves her. Time after time, she forgives him. And time after time, she convinces herself that this time will be different. Yet observers know all too well, history will repeat itself. The real question is why Brooke no way learns, and why she allows Ridge to keep breaking her spirit. Brooke Logan beautiful, smart, and hopeless? On paper, Brooke is everything. She's stunning. She's intelligent. She's expertise in business. She's the woman other characters either want to be or want to destroy. But when it comes to Ridge, all of that strength evaporates. Suckers can't help but ask, how can a woman who has erected so much for herself continue to debase herself over a man who has proven, time and again, that he doesn't value her? It's nearly painful to watch. Rather of demanding respect, Brooke seems happy to settle for whatever scraps Ridge throws her way. Spoilers suggest that Brooke sees this engagement as a palm evidence that she's Ridge's true love. But let's be honest, accepting a man back just weeks after he was pledging his fidelity to another woman isn't love. It's despair. The social media backlash. Still, she's in for a rude awakening if Brooke thinks suckers are conking over her rearmost engagement. Social media has been ruthless, and observers aren't holding back. One frustrated addict reflected. Taylor and Brooke debase themselves, soliciting a man who has used them both for decades. Just 2 times ago the characters had pledged not to let him do that presently. Also instantly forgot. Another chimed in with, Brooke has zero tone regard. She needs to look in the glass and flash back she's worth so much further than this tired triangle. And one particularly cutting response read, watching Brooke take Ridge back again is like watching a rehearsal from the 90s. We've seen this ahead. And it always ends the same way. Easily, the followership isn't impressed. Ridge Forrester the puppet master? While Brooke takes a lot of the heat, let's not ignore Ridge's part in this mess. He has been swinging himself between Brooke and Taylor for decades, no way truly committing to one, and always managing to keep both hooked. Spoilers indicate that Ridge proposed to Brooke shortly after parting ways with Taylor. To numerous suckers, it feels less like love and more like damage control. Was Ridge really motivated by love, or was he simply hysterical of being alone? If so, that makes Brooke's acceptance indeed more woeful. She's not being chosen out of passion or fortune, she's being chosen out of convenience. The broken promise between Brooke and Taylor. What makes this situation soak indeed more is that not long ago, Brooke and Taylor made a pact. They both swore they wouldn't let Ridge crop them against each other again. They promised to put their tone respect first and to stop playing his game. And yet, then we are. Both women have abandoned that pledge, and Brooke, in particular, looks like she's forgotten every ounce of tone worth she formerly had. Rather of rising above the drama, she's jumped back into the fire, willingly letting Ridge mandate her future. Is Brooke hysterical to be alone? One proposition floating around is that Brooke doesn't know how to be single. She thrives on love, passion, and confirmation. Without a man, and specifically without Ridge, she feels incomplete. However, also this engagement isn't about love at each, if that's true. It's about fear. Fear of being unwanted. Fear of being left before. Fear of admitting that she deserves better. For a character as iconic as Brooke Logan, that's a sad fate. At the end of the day, one thing is clear: Brooke Logan deserves better than this. She deserves a man who chooses her without vacillation, who values her beyond a cycle of bifurcations and makeups, and who doesn't make her feel like she has to supplicate for love. Rather, what we're watching is a woman with endless eventuality who continues to settle for lower. And while the cleaner thrives on the drama, suckers can't help but feel frustrated, because Brooke Logan is too important, too beautiful, and too iconic to be reduced to Ridge Forrester's safety net. Until Brooke eventually puts herself first, history will keep repeating itself. And as spoilers suggest, this engagement is just the morning of another messy chapter. What's next for Brooke Logan? Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, has always been one of the most iconic, glamorous, and centralizing characters in The Bold and the Beautiful. For decades, she has been front and center in the show's biggest stories, utmost dramatic love triangles, and utmost indelible dishonors. But now, as she formerly again finds herself caught up in Ridge Forrester's, Torsten K., endless merry-go-round of love and rejection, suckers are asking the big question: what's coming for Brooke Logan? Because actually, it's getting painful to watch. Suckers are over it. Observers are no longer buying the idea that Brooke and Ridge are star-crossed suckers. In fact, the counter-reaction has been brutal. Critics on social media haven't been shy about calling out the poisonous cycle that keeps dragging these characters down. One frustrated addict wrote, "It's sickening to watch what are presumably intelligent, strong women let some schlub use them and toss them down." Another added, "Brooke is his oxygen, and Ridge is her tone regard. Brooke can breathe. It's Ridge who can't breathe without Brooke." At least, that's what he said. And maybe the harshest notice came from a bystander who said, "Like, do the pens actually suppose anyone finds this romantic? Like some big love story? They're all just trauma clicked to each other. So poisonous." Also, it's clear commodity has to change either for the character or for the plot, if suckers are this ditty. Brooke Logan's pattern. Let's be real, Brooke's love life is one giant circle. She loves Ridge. Ridge betrays her. Brooke forgives him. Wash and repeat. It's nearly comical at this point, except that it's also heartbreaking. Spoilers suggest that Brooke formerly again finds herself adhering to the idea of a future with Ridge, indeed though he's proven in numerous times that he'll no way completely commit. And while Brooke has tried to move on with other men in the once, Bill Spencer, Don Diamont, Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, she always comes back to Ridge. The problem? Each time she does, she looks weaker and further dependent. Rather of being written as a strong woman who knows her worth, Brooke is painted as a woman who can't live without Ridge's confirmation. A turning point? The good news for suckers who are tired of this cycle is that spoilers allude at an implicit turning point. Brooke may start to realize that she's repeating the same miscalculations over and over again. And if she eventually decides to walk down from Ridge for good, it could be one of the most empowering stories of her career. Imagine Brooke turning the tables and refusing to be Ridge's safety net. Imagine her reclaiming her power, choosing herself, and refusing to let him define her own worth. That kind of shift would not only shock Ridge, but it would also exhilaration longtime suckers who have been soliciting for Brooke to evolve. What if Brooke walks down? Still, the possibilities are endless if Brooke were to actually move on from Ridge. A new love story. Brooke could be paired with someone new, a fresh face in Los Angeles who has formerly burned her. This would give her character new life and shake up the oil in a major way. Focus on herself rather of love, Brooke could concentrate on her career, her family, and rediscovering who she's outside of Ridge. This would not only be important, but it would also show observers that tone love is just as compelling as a love triangle. Vengeance mode. Brooke could also flip the script entirely by going into queen mode. She could make Ridge realize that losing her was the biggest mistake of his life and that she doesn't need him presently. But will it really be? Then's the problem. As much as suckers want to see Brooke change, history tells us else. Ridge and Brooke are the backbone of the bold and the beautiful. They're on again, off again. Love is the show's chuck and adulation, and the pens may no way truly end it. That means suckers could be stuck watching Brooke go through the same movements over and over again. And while it may frustrate observers, it also guarantees one thing: Brooke will always be at the center of the drama. The Taylor factor. Of course, no Brooke plot is complete without Taylor Hayes. The two women have been rivals for decades, and formerly again, their lives are intertwined through Ridge. Spoilers suggest Taylor may not be fully out of the picture just yet. However, we may be looking at yet another round of the ignominious Brooke versus, if that's the case. Taylor War. The problem, as one addict refocused out, is that both women end up looking pathetic. Taylor and Brooke debase themselves, soliciting a man who has used them both for decades. Unless the pens find a way to break this cycle, the contest will continue to drag both characters down. A assignment in tone regard. At the heart of this plot is a bigger theme: tone regard. Brooke's constant acceptance of Ridge's bad jest sends a disquieting communication. Rather of empowering her, the show keeps portraying her as hopeless and indigent. Spoilers allude that Brooke herself may begin to question why she keeps letting Ridge back in. However, it could open the door for some real growth if the pens lean into that angle. After all, Brooke Logan deserves to be further than just Ridge Forrester's fallback option. Brooke Logan is one of the most iconic cleaner characters of all time, but indeed legends need growth. Right now, suckers are frustrated, critics are oral, and social media is on fire with commentary calling out the poisonous cycle. Whether you love Brooke or detest her, one thing is certain: she deserves further than Ridge's scraps. Until the pens eventually give her the respect she deserves, suckers will be left asking the same question over and over again: what's coming for Brooke Logan?